streets of Baltimore can be mean and dangerous. In 2008, there were 234 homicides in Baltimore City. Although that's better than in years past, that still makes Baltimore the second most deadly city in the nation, just behind Detroit. A few years ago, as crime in the area increased and there were a rash of burglaries, a small group of Orthodox Jews got together. There were complaints that their neighborhood was becoming more dangerous, so they formed a neighborhood watch group. But it quickly grew into much more. Now, having grown to 47 members, they are on watch 24/7, even on Shabbat.
I never want to be the one to say, we need to take our streets back. I don't want to give up our streets in the first place. So when crime took a spike back then, my brother Avi was rattled by it, I was rattled by it, and he had the idea of, let's put guys on the street, let's find who's doing it.
So we formed SHOMRIM unofficially by getting a bunch of us to volunteer to go out from the evening till the early morning hours and just to keep an eye on what was happening.
I went out at night with police interaction to try to find the 2 to 3 individuals that we thought were perpetuating all these burglaries. And after a couple nights out, with the police help, we were able to find, I think, 2 out of the 3, if not all 3 of them, and have the police arrest them and ultimately charge them with the burglaries. And from that came a more unified formation, which is now known as SHOMRIM.
People my age were growing up in this city. We weren't afraid to walk outside at night, ride our bikes in this, on the sidewalk down the street without our parents watching over us closely. And it's not necessarily like that today.
On any given night, police are called to the Park Heights-Pikesville section of the city, the area where the largest concentration of Jews reside. Baltimore City Police count on SHOMRIM as an important tool to help them reach out to the community.
Being on the midnight shift as a shift commander, every extra set of eyes on the street really was assisting us, it was assisting the community. So I believed in what SHOMRIM stood for, what SHOMRIM was trying to do.
SHOMRIM aids the police by being a force multiplier. We add lots of eyes and ears to the existing police force in our area.
We'll be there to give the officers information, help them discern what's going on quicker, point out the victim, if there's a suspect, what the situation is, tell them what we know.
Crime prevention is really all about perception, and having 6, 8, 12 extra sets of eyes on the street, people driving around, whether it's flashing light or walking around the community with your radio, wearing the shirts. It's the branding. People in the community see that and they think twice before they do something that they shouldn't be doing.
I think they're highly effective. In fact, violent crime rates in Baltimore County are at 1976 levels, and I attribute that in great measure to the work of these great men out in the field today. These men are involved every day, 24-hour day coverage. They're uniformed, they're organized, they're structured. They deal and have work in a partnership with our officers every day.
Over the 10 years that I've been involved with SHOMRIM, there isn't anyone in the state of Maryland, any office that I haven't interacted with. We've dealt with every single elected official, and it's as a result of those relationships that we've been able to be successful. We've had 2 football games between the Baltimore City Police Department and SHOMRIM members. We have the National Night Out, where SHOMRIM is an active sponsor and participant. Once you get to know the officers that are protecting your community, it makes their job easier and makes our neighborhood safer.
Armed only with radios, the SHOMRIM tracked carjacking suspects Sunday as they moved from crime scene to crime scene.
A SHOMRIM member had seen the Chevy Malibu from earlier that day following the most recent carjacking car, which was a Hyundai, leaving the area. That safety patrol member followed from behind while notifying the police department.
The safety patrol member gave police and Foxtrot directions of where the suspects were traveling.
In Park Heights, the Baltimore SHOMRIM Safety Patrol is seeing an uptick in calls from citizens, and they are out in the community along with police. Over the last 2 to 3 weeks, they report some 20 burglaries in the area.
What happens is a caller calls our hotline, it simul rings to multiple dispatchers.
We'll take the information for the call, the location, the name, and a callback number.
We'll stay online with the person while he's dispatching units.
And before we hang up, we make sure that the caller calls the police.
The #1 job of SHOMRIM is to make sure that the victim and the caller is safe. Catching the perpetrator is secondary to the safety of our community.
SHOMRIM is able to respond very quickly to all the calls in our area because we all live and work very close by. So if something's happening 3 blocks away, there's enough of us that we're able to get there very quickly within a matter of minutes.
Putting their life at risk on a constant basis, it's truly amazing to see the dedication of these volunteers and the dedications of their wives to allow them to go 24/7 to be on call.
The wives really deserve a lot of credit. Everybody's wife is probably doing the same thing. I can't believe he has to go again. I can't believe he's going to go again, but he's doing the right thing.
There are many times that the phone call that comes in from a community member is of a sensitive nature. Could have to do with their spouse, with their children, things that they may not want to be put out in the public domain. And SHOMRIM treats this information with confidentiality and sensitivity to make sure that the victim is always protected.
Missing person calls are very common in our organization, unfortunately.
We had a silver alert, which we didn't even know about at the time. We actually were going out that night to try to catch people who were burglarizing cars and stealing automobiles. I noticed a pickup truck drive by very slowly, braking a lot. And law enforcement told us, oh, this is a guy who had been missing since the morning from Pennsylvania. And we were able to, through the police, contact the family and reunite with his family. You know, we were looking for bad guys. We caught a good guy who was in danger. They were older, in the 90s, hadn't eaten much all day, and it was a really good catch.
It's truly amazing to see how the organizations work so hard to work together with Chaverim, together with Hatzalah, how everyone is looking all for the good of our community.
Hatzalah and SHOMRIM have been community partners since both of our beginnings. They partner with Hatzalah on scenes where community members are injured from assaults, and in times when there are untimely deaths, SHOMRIM members are there to ensure that the body receives proper respect. These are our community undercover heroes. Just by looking, you would never know that they are out 24/7 protecting our community.
It's unfortunate that an organization like SHOMRIM is necessary. It's unfortunate that we live in a world in which there is crime, in which there is malice from one man to the next. Thank God we live in a community with a dedicated and devoted police department, with an incredibly dedicated and devoted law enforcement. It is beautiful to see that we also have communal partners, dedicated men like the members of SHOMRIM, who are willing to lead lives of Hashomer Achi Anochi.
The thing that drives us through our busyness to drop what we're doing at work and to run at our moment's notice is really, I think, caring for the community.
The rewarding part is when I see our community members being taken care of the way they deserve to be.
Somebody takes a kid's bicycle away. How much damage I could do for that child. But when that same child sees somebody coming back with their stolen bicycle, the smile on their face is unbelievable. It makes it all worthwhile because that child now knows somebody's out there looking out for his best interest, and he's not going to be bullied his whole life.
My last 7 years in law enforcement in Baltimore, I worked the entire city. The camaraderie that you see in this community, you don't see that. It's unmatched. You don't see that anywhere else.
I just recently ran my 100th meeting, and I look around the room, and it's just what a great bunch of people who volunteer so many hours and do such a great job. At that last meeting, it was starting to hit me like, this is my last meeting. And then I looked around to see the new board, and Michael Diamond was sitting next to me, and I knew that SHOMRIM is in good hands.